the lowest possible. Illinois may soon have something in common with Puerto Rico and Detroit. There's speculation the state could be forced to file for Chapter 9 bankruptcy. The rating agency Moody's Investor Service downgraded Illinois bonds to the lowest possible investment grade earlier this month. Moody's cited the state's growing pile of unpaid bills and its climbing pension deficit. Illinois has the lowest credit rating of any state in our United States. Moody's also released a statement after the downgrade saying legislative gridlock has sidetracked efforts not only to address pension needs, but also achieve fiscal balance, allowing a backlog of bills to approach $15 billion, or about 40% of the state's operating budget. Also noted by the Fiscal Times, the state of Illinois is the only state that's been operating without a balanced and complete budget for 2 years. Sounds like my house. Illinois Governor Bruce Rayner called for a special session starting next week to reach a budget deal. Good luck, Bruce.
Could Illinois be the first state to file for bankruptcy? Illinois residents may feel some solidarity with the likes of Puerto Rico and Detroit. A financial crunch is spiraling into a serious problem for Illinois lawmakers, prompting some observers to wonder if the state might make history by becoming the first to go bankrupt. At the moment, it's impossible for a state to file for bankruptcy protection, which is only afforded to counties and municipalities like Detroit. Chapter 9 bankruptcy protection could be extended to states if Congress took up the issue, although Stanford Law School professor Michael McConnell noted in an article last year that he believed the precedents are iffy for extending the option to states. Nevertheless, Illinois is in a serious financial pickle, which is why radical options such as bankruptcy are being floated as potential solutions. Ratings agency Moody's Investor Service earlier this month downgraded Illinois' general obligation bonds to its lowest investment grade rating, citing the state's growing pile of unpaid bills and its mounting pension deficit. Illinois, by the way, has the lowest credit rating of any state. Lower ratings mean higher borrowing costs, since lenders view such borrowers as riskier bets. Legislative gridlock has sidetracked efforts not only to address pension needs but also to achieve fiscal balance, allowing a backlog of bills to approach $15 billion, or about 40% of the state's operating budget, the agency noted. As noted by the Fiscal Times, Illinois is the only state that's been operating without a balanced and complete budget for almost 2 years. We're like a banana republic. We can't manage our money, Governor Bruce Rayner said after the Illinois legislature failed to produce a full 2017 budget earlier this month. Tax-friendly states for retirees. Tax-friendly states for retirees. The situation has prompted comparisons with Puerto Rico, which earlier this year announced a historic restructuring of some of its $70 billion in debt through courts after negotiations with bondholders failed. Like Puerto Rico, Illinois has a massive pension crisis. Its unfunded pension liability for the state's 5 major plans grew 25% alone in 1 year, reaching $251 billion, according to Moody's. On a per-household basis, the state's pension debt burden stands at $27,000, according to the conservative-leaning Illinois Policy Institute. So how did the state's pensions balloon into such a crisis? First, the pension problem has been a long time in the making. The state has more than 660 government pension funds, which are sometimes called defined benefit plans because they promise workers will receive a specific pension when they retire. Illinois Lottery issuing EIS to winners. Play video. Illinois Lottery issuing EIS to winners. But critics say some of those pensions carried overly optimistic assumptions, especially given periods of market turmoil like the global financial crisis, which ate into investment returns. The state's General Assembly wasn't required to fully fund pensions, which meant tax money was spent on other priorities such as schools or infrastructure. The result? Growing unfunded liabilities, or money promised to workers in their pensions when they retire that the state doesn't have. Other contributing factors include inadequate employer contributions and benefit increases, according to the Civic Federation. Adding to the state's financial pain is a shrinking tax base. For the last 3 consecutive years, Illinois has lost residents. Its population is now at its lowest in a decade. Tepid wage growth on top of fewer residents puts a strain on the state's ability to grow its tax revenue. It's not unprecedented for a state to default on its debt. Arkansas defaulted in 1933 as it struggled to repay debt during the Great Depression. Spending on an ambitious road-building project and a series of natural disasters heightened the southern state's problems. Bankruptcy is often seen as a last-ditch effort, but it also can help struggling cities or companies reinvent themselves on a stronger financial footing. Detroit serves an example of how a reorganization can help, at least in the near term. The city is now paying its bills and is keeping up with maintenance, although it still has a looming pension payment that could spell trouble in just a few years, according to the Detroit Free Press. As Michigan Treasurer Nick Cowrie told the publication, "We certainly know many people were hurt during the bankruptcy, but what would have been the alternative and how would they have been hurt under the alternative?" As for Illinois, Rauner on Thursday called state legislators to a 10-day special session starting next week to hammer out a budget deal and end an unprecedented impasse that could soon enter a third year. The Republican announced the news in a Facebook video and statement, accusing majority Democrats of ignoring his recommendations. "We have tough, urgent choices to make, and the legislature must be present to make them," he said. Lawmakers adjourned last month without a deal before a critical May 31 deadline, triggering the need for a 3/5 majority vote instead of a majority on a budget agreement. The new fiscal year begins July 1. Rauner has called for a special session running from June 21 to July 30.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago. And so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheep up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County COPWATCH with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it, 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt-free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.